Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast.
I think that this world, it needs men that are willing to make the hard call.
Central Maine's best comics podcast, by default.
Ain't no thing like me, except me.
Here are your hosts, Zach and Jared.
I'm gonna have to come with you. No. When do we start?
Welcome back to the show. End of summer show extravaganza. We have summery things planned. Happy things. It's a happy show.
Technically, summer doesn't end until the 21st or 22nd of September, depending on the year.
There's so much negative stuff in this show, so we're going to keep it as peppy as we can.
It's the back to school not so special. Damn, it's hot.
All the news is bad. It's sad. It's
bad news. It's a sad parental advisory book this week. Oh my
God. Accidentally, everything sucks, but we're going to keep it upbeat.
Man, by the way, last week you're like, oh, we're done with being hot and sweltery, and here we are again.
Yeah, who the hell knows?
Yeah, well, the weathermen knew. They told me last week, and I told you it was going to be miserable this week.
No one knows, because we don't do it that much in here. Jared is weirdly obsessed with the weather. I've been on his ass for years to go back to school and just become a meteorologist.
No, I like what I'm doing now, though.
Do
you know how hard it is to be a meteorologist? Have you ever seen any of the equations that they have to study and know?
I hate math, so no.
It's like next level physics, like thermodynamics and
math is
fluid dynamics of gases, and it just looks miserable to even try and understand. So
math is my least favorite part of my job. I'm like, how much money do I have to make to get profit?
More than you spend. It's a pretty easy equation.
It's not fun. News for this week.
Oh, by the way, now my new commute, I drive by the store every day, and now I can see, like, there's some real interesting things that must... Do you ever get excited, like, on a hot day like today where the water truck goes by and they're spraying things? Do you ever just want to run out and, like, kind of, like, play in it?
Because sometimes they're getting in my way when I'm trying to leave.
Also, I got cut off by a UPS truck today. I'm like, oh, must be going to Zach's.
Good. No, I had him already this week.
Oh.
Important news, because this is a rarity. I think the second time ever. The store is going to be closed this Saturday, so if you're coming by, I won't be there. No one will be there.
There'll be no store.
Yeah, unfortunately. And also Monday, just because it's the holiday and I wouldn't have been open anyway, but...
Wow. Is this a 3-day weekend for Zach?
Technically, yeah, I guess.
Wow. A mini vacation.
No. That it's not. I'm going to a wedding.
Weddings are fun.
I don't really have a choice.
I'm going to a wedding this weekend as well.
Different wedding.
Yeah, not the same wedding. But my wedding's going to be a lot of fun. It's not my wedding, personally. It's somebody else's wedding that I'm going to.
I'm sure mine will be fine.
My sister's getting married, so that's always a good time.
I got a cousin, but they came to my wedding, so I kind of have to.
I mean, what are they going to not go? They're going to go back in time and not go to your wedding?
It's just you gotta.
Yeah, it's the polite thing to do.
So
I'm proud of you for being the bigger adult and doing it. Did they guilt you into this, or is this a self-guilting?
Self.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't talked to them since my wedding, so it's not like, we're close.
Are you? Is it an open bar? Cash bar?
I have no idea.
Are you hoping for open bar?
I don't really care.
Really?
I mean, no.
Did you have a food option?
I don't remember.
I don't remember what it was either.
So,
I think
exciting details.
I think it's buffet.
Is it an open bar? I don't know. What are you eating? I don't know.
Usually smarter to do a buffet.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, so that's the big news. Store will be closed on Saturday, Monday. Sorry.
Don't be. It's Labor Day. It's the unofficial end of summer. Go out and enjoy the weather.
All right. Let's take a dive into this. It's news time, baby.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
I guess let's start with something that's tangential to comics, but worth mentioning.
Okay.
Batman himself, Ben Affleck, has returned to rehab.
Did you see that he stopped like a Jack in the Box or something on the way?
There's so much Jack in the Box in this story. So him and Jennifer Garner, who, by the way, after he went into this live-in rehab, are finally officially divorced.
Okay.
But Ben Affleck's, for the last couple of weeks, been kind of publicly out with this 22-year-old playmate who's very much like, I love to drink and party. Like, I guess it's in her, like, playmate profile. Didn't research it, just...
Uh-huh. Just read it for the articles, huh?
No. But they've been running about, including going to Jack in the Box last week. Ben Affleck's favorite restaurant, apparently.
I've never been to a Jack in the Box.
We don't have them out here.
No, but I've been by them. Have you ever been to a Jack in the Box?
I don't know, off the top of my head.
Okay.
Couldn't tell you. Much like what I'm doing at this wedding, I don't know. So he's been running around this 22-year-old playmate. So I think he's just trying to keep pace with her. He just got out of rehab a year ago, which is why he doesn't show any effort in Justice League and doesn't take his shirt off, because I think he's just loaded for the whole movie. Or hungover. Or both.
Can you be loaded and hungover at the same time?
I mean, you can have that fine transition point.
Is it really a fine transition? It's mostly miserable.
And then you can go right back into it.
Like the rock stars of old.
So, who the hell knows? Like, Is this guy going to be Batman? They're trying to move forward with this movie. But Jennifer Garner goes to his house, pours him into the back of like this SUV, like, you're done.
It's time.
You
it's
need to
grown-up
co-parent
time.
our kids. And he's like, all right, I'll go, but we have to stop at Jack in the Box on the way. Jennifer Garner is a saint.
She
Is
really
what I learned
is.
over the last
Yes.
week. And Ben Affleck just keeps going back to rehab. So I don't know. Batman's future is questionable. Let's just call it he's done.
He could have
He's
been
all
like
done.
could have been like a Tony Stark more than anything else.
I'm really
He's
questioning
alcoholic.
that. There's this one scene in
drunk,
Justice League where I was
boozer.
questioning it, where he drinks like a glass of whiskey before going into battle. Now I'm questioning if that was real or
It's
fake.
prop whiskey or real whiskey.
He replaced it. He's like, ugh. It's the only way I'm getting through this scene. I'm like, fine, just let him drink it. We'll put it in the story.
Yes.
But yeah, so let's just say he's done being Batman because he's a mess. He's a mess of a man having a midlife crisis, getting giant phoenix tattoos on his backs, banging 22-year-old playmates.
I don't know if I'd want to get a giant phoenix tattoo across my back.
Don't.
I think it's a
Definitely
good
don't.
life. It's a good
Have you
life
seen-
choice.
Have you seen an image of that?
Yes. It's,
Okay, I was gonna say, if you haven't,
it's
look it up.
terrifying.
What a terrible tattoo. So I'm saying Batman's done. Weird news,
Yes,
I
please.
guess.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin is going to be in the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie,
Really?
playing Thomas Wayne, husband of Martha.
Why do you have to like? You're just only playing into it by doing that.
That's because it's stupid.
It is stupid.
I
so
get what
why?
they were going for. It was stupid. But yeah, Alec Baldwin's in that movie.
Good for Alec Baldwin.
Do you like Alec Baldwin?
I don't dislike Alec Baldwin.
Well, my thing with him is he's been such a big star for decades at this point. He's like one of the few remaining movie stars left. So when I see a movie with Alec Baldwin, I just see Alec Baldwin. I don't see character at this point.
Fair.
I see a man who used to be really in shape and then wasn't.
I mean, he had those voicemails to his daughter.
Yeah, those are fun. Those are a fun listen.
Yeah. But I mean, I actually kind of enjoy him on the Match Game when they brought it back. He's the host of the Match Game. It's actually kind of entertaining.
Cool. I believe you.
Yeah. No,
Is that a dating one?
No, it's where you have the panel of celebrities and there's a statement Tiny Tim was so short. How short was he? And then he, whenever he sits down, he blanks, and then you have to fill in the blank. That was a pretty bad example.
Just the blank stare of confusion. I don't know what that is, but
No, it's
I
a fill
believe
in the
you.
blank, and then you write it down as the contestant, and you try and match as many celebrities as possible.
okay.
And
But yeah,
sometimes,
so he's in this movie.
sometimes they're very adult.
This movie that maybe no one wants. Maybe it'll be great. Hopefully it's good. I mean, that's the idea of any movie, really. Hopefully it's good. Is that what you want, to be entertained?
I want a good story. I want good action or just something wonderful.
I don't think Alec Baldwin's doing any action scenes.
Well, he did do some action scenes in the past.
I think he's in that new Mission Impossible movie.
Is he?
Because he was
He
in
was-
the last one. I don't remember.
He
if
was
that
good
like-
in Hunt for October.
It's going back a ways, but yes.
It's one of my favorite movies. Back to the Match Game. It's kind of like Cards Against Humanity, but
Are you looking up examples? Is this what you're doing on your phone?
yeah, right now. The surgeon said, "Man, I'm operating on what must be a magician. When I reached in to pull out his appendix, I got a blank instead." Or a bald man complained, "My wife thinks my head is an egg. Last night she tried to blank it." And you have to fill in.
Oh, I got it.
There you go.
George Costanza, that one.
Yeah.
Rub it in oil.
Or dumb Dora is so dumb, and everyone goes, "How dumb is she?" She thinks that her dog is illegal. He's a blank.
Don't be a game show host is what I'm getting out of this. Tom Hardy, whiny Venom, says that he has a 3-movie contract with Sony.
Well, one down, 2 to go.
I mean, low for a superhero contract.
Does that mean
but,
we're getting Craven?
Craven the Hunter. Oh boy. Whatever. I mean, he signed a contract. Again, hopefully the movie's good. I feel like all the news tonight, I'm just going to be like, I'm actually not in a bad mood. It's just the news. I can't control it. I guess I can, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The news worth reporting on, but whatever. 3-movie contract. We'll see. Sony has never really finished or followed through with an entire series yet. So, hey.
They got the Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, but they had contracted out to 6.
They got to 3.
They got halfway there.
Oh.
Yeah, they were living on a prayer. Yeah. Well,
Venom used to work on the docks.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the saga continues. And by continuing, it's been delayed indefinitely.
Uh-oh.
Which just really means they couldn't get a quickie replacement for a director. All of the cast and crew have been released from their contracts. They're doing pre-production stuff. Now they've all been released so they can go find other work since this movie isn't going to get kicked off. This doesn't mean it's canceled, but it's going to be a little ways until they can get their ducks in a row.
The Coen brothers.
Be a weird one, but sure.
Get I don't know, Steven Spielberg.
Hey, why not? He's done space before.
Yeah.
Supposedly, Taika Waititi had a meeting at Disney, but that doesn't mean that he had a meeting about this. He just had a meeting.
Well,
According to, I think that was the Hollywood Reporter.
could be more Thor.
This is the most comic book thing that's ever happened with these movies. Like canceling a series before it's done. Like, yeah, that's comics, all right.
That would suck. I kind of want to know how it all plays out.
That's comics, baby. You never know. Is it going to go on forever, or is it just going to get canceled unceremoniously?
Well,
That's comics.
Maybe the way that the next Avengers movie is written, it kind of brings some conclusion to that.
Kills them all. Calls it a day.
Yep. Oh,
They get the Sylvester Stallone back into that set of Guardians.
they go to the multiverse.
Casting news for Star Wars. There was one, then there was two. Matt Smith from Doctor Who, the 11th Doctor? 11th Doctor. He's been cast in an important role.
I saw that.
That's all that says. But the one I was really interested in was Dominic Monaghan has also joined Star Wars, who worked with JJ back on Lost. Why is it important that Dominic Monaghan is there? Because I'm always going to support the button-nosed car door ear actors. Thanks for representing, brother.
I wouldn't say you have a button nose.
Look up Dominic Monaghan's nose. We have the same terrible nose.
Yeah.
And the same stupid ears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiny but wide.
I support what he does.
Maybe he'll be like a pilot.
Who dies? I don't know. Because I saw, like, this is his third major franchise, including X-Men Origins Wolverine. I'm like, he's in that movie for 3 minutes and dies.
The only major franchise he's in is The Hobbit. Not The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings.
And Lost.
And Lost. But
And now
major
Star
movie
Wars.
franchise. Major movie franchise.
Oh, okay. Glad you're...
And he's also in an
Clarify.
Eminem music video.
Okay, I didn't know that one. I believe you. Sad news. Russ Heath has passed away at the age of 91. Comics artist mostly known for his war comics art. Definitely a big favorite among the war comics community.
He did a good job with The Rocketeer.
And he also did Playboy strips. Bringing it back to Playboy.
Oh, boy.
He did. It's not my fault.
No, I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying you didn't have to go there, but you did.
And yet I chose to.
Shocking.
But I mean, 91, that's a good run.
Yeah, I'd love to get to 91.
And if you look up Russ Heath's art, I mean, he's pretty spectacular. And I saw all these people, because I mean, I don't know anything from anything, but everyone just talking about how technically accurate he was with so much of what he did with artillery and machinery and just the way that war is conducted, and people were big fans of his art. So that, you know, definitely a legend in the field. But 91, can't complain.
No, not at all.
Yeah, why not? Let's just do it now. Get it out of the way. Try and break up the bad news.
Oh, is it
This is medium bad news.
is it Bendis news?
It's Bendis news, baby.
No, I don't want bad Bendis news.
Deal with it.
Oh,
Theme.
wow.
What is Bendis up to now?
We're gabbing about Bendis. It's this week's news about Brian Michael Bendis.
Bendis.
That was aggressive, and it's like, you're going to get nothing and like it.
He got in a little bit of trouble last week.
Uh-oh, is it bad trouble?
No,
I guess is there
I think it's a learning experience.
Okay.
With it, and I'm surprised an
That's
editor let it pass.
That's a real 20th century thing, right? That's a very euphemistic way of saying he was in trouble. It's a learning experience.
He had a villain in a Superman comic call someone expletive autistic in terms of their driving, and a lot of people jumped on him like,
And rightfully so.
yeah, like maybe don't use that in a derogatory sense.
Yeah.
And his kind of rebuttal was, you know, I used it because it's such a disgusting term, and it was by a villain who immediately got his comeuppance. But he was very positive about the whole thing. But he's like, but within, if there's a second printing of the book, and also within the trades, this is going to get fixed there, so this will never see the light of day again. And, you know, which is probably the best response you can have.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Does that mean like he made a mistake, he learned from it, and is going to move on from it? Hint, hint, Disney.
Yeah. Well, he works for Warner Brothers now,
Eh.
who've also apparently been trying to poach James Gunn, but that's just rumor.
Well, he's free.
They poached Whedon, went real well, went horribly.
No.
It didn't go well at all. Yeah, so Bendis got in a little bit of trouble, but, you know, I think he dealt with it as well as he could have.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he handled it well.
Captain Marvel, that's a movie that's coming out.
Oh, yes, it is.
There is going to be a Prelude comic leading into it, which I think could actually be a Prelude comic.
Really?
Now, you're feigning interest. I'll explain why I'm actually saying it actually might be one.
Yes.
These Marvel movie tie-ins.
Enthrall me.
they're 50-50. Sometimes it's actually a prelude, like leading into the story, and other times they're just summarizing the last movie. More often than not, it's just a summary of the last movie over 2 issues, which are awful. They're never any good. So it's a real like crapshoot. Like, am I just going to get a summary of something, or is it actually going to be part of the story? And since there's nothing to, I don't think there's anything that they can lead into this with, I think it might be an honest to God prelude again. It's a crapshoot, 50-50.
Interesting. Maybe a little backstory as to what was going on, where Captain Marvel's. But aren't we going to get that anyway? Like in the movie, like you would think.
Just get a little.
They're not
bit
just
more.
going to drop us into the middle of Captain Marvel and be like, "Oh, this is Captain Marvel, and these are scrolls." And
I mean, you might get that. You might get like Kree Skrull War information or something, or maybe, I'm sure you won't, but maybe her just like as a little girl growing up with like a military family or something like that. I don't know. The Defenders. No, not the boring TV show. About 3 weeks ago, I was like, you know what? I'm kind of having a hankering for that show. I watched it that one time. It's only 8 episodes. It's been 3 weeks. I just got to the 5th episode. I keep falling asleep. It's so boring. They don't do anything.
that's the worst.
It was the first time around. I'm like, it's fine. It's not one of the better ones, but you know, entertaining enough. Watching it a second time, boo! Oh man, it is rough. It does not fare well for repeat viewings.
A lot of sit and get.
I'm just yelling at it, which is bad because you know it's like night. So
Do something already.
yeah, I'm just yelling at an iPad. Do something. It's like 11 at night. Not the best time to be yelling.
No, probably not. Especially if there are other people in your home trying to sleep.
Yeah, I'm just yelling.
Yeah.
2 feet away.
At something that's
Just do something.
at something you have zero control over.
Just hoping. But whatever. A better version of the Defenders, the comic Defenders. They're back, baby. The original team with 5 one-shots called Best Defense. Can you name the original Defenders? Can I, now that I'm thinking about it?
Reggie White, he was the Minister of Defense on the Green Bay Packers. Lawrence Taylor, he was a good linebacker for the Giants.
This is your version of the Best Defense.
Oh, it's a pretty solid defense. A start on a good defense. Deion Sanders at cornerback, safety. You could do that. Who else would I put out there? Oh, you mean like comic book characters?
The Hulk, Namor, Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, and the 5th one. Which I blanked on.
Teddy Bruschi.
Sure. Teddy Bruschi himself. The 5th one. But yeah, there's going to be a series of one-shots. I like these characters. I like when they kind of go back to like old school teams, so I'm all for it. Speaking of old teams coming back, there's going to be a new Batman and the Outsiders series written by current Detective Comics writer Brian Edward Hill. It's going to have Batman, Black Lightning, Signal, Orphan, and Katana. You may have heard about her katana in the lovely expository movie from Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Oh, God, what a terrible scene. But whatever. Outsiders are usually a fun series. They get to be, I was going to say outside, yeah, but they kind of get to do a little bit more fringe stuff with Batman, like Batman who wants to be like, I'm with the Justice League, and we're all doing that. But at the same time, he's like, we got to do some other stuff, too. It's stuff that's a little more seedy.
Yeah.
So Outsiders is usually a fun series. I'm glad it's coming back. All right, here we go.
Oh, what? Oh, the fact that you're
Notes are down.
Oh, is that it for news?
No.
Oh boy.
There's one more.
Okay. The fact that you just kind of threw your notes away like nonchalantly and kind of in disgust, which I guess it would mean if you threw them down in disgust, it wouldn't be nonchalant. I am concerned.
I'm going to try and keep this brief.
Okay, doubtful, but here we go.
I'm going to do my best.
All right.
Because I've had to edit some of your rants down, and it is a pain.
Well, once I get going, I'm just too lazy to stop.
We've addressed it briefly before. I'm going to do it again because it really blew up this week. Comicsgate. The worst thing to come out of Watergate is the damn use of the word gate at the end of everything bad. That is your legacy, Watergate. Stupid names.
Okay, carry on.
But Comicsgate, quick summary. There is a small contingent of fans that are very vocal on the internet who don't like the direction of mostly mainstream comics, mostly Marvel, but there's still a bit of hate towards DC, they think that comics are too concerned with identity politics and regular politics, and that there's gender swapping, and now people are coming out as gay, and, you know, everything.
Are these it's social justice Marvel?
Oh yeah, they like saying SJW. They like really putting everything as a blanket statement. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't carry books by people who are really engaging in this. We've even covered a book by one of them before that's no longer in the store. I mean, it sells, but I don't really want to carry it anymore. And some of it gets pretty extreme. You don't usually see the most extreme stuff on Twitter. It's more of like people messaging female creators, like literally saying like, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to rape your children, and then sending out like their personal information to all of these people who then like come to their homes and their workplaces. And it's kind of nasty. The stuff you see on Twitter is bad too, but yeah. So a lot of people have had to come out this week and be like, hey, I'm against this. So me too, I'm coming out saying I'm against this. The idea that, you know, everyone's like, comics are for everyone. I mean, like gender, race, sexuality, whatever, anything. Like anyone can find a book that represents them. A lot of these people are all pissed because TNA isn't extreme as it used to be. The women aren't as buxom. The men aren't as gun heavy with as many pouches. And those books still exist. You can get those books, but these people just jump on everything. I've had just the fringes of it. Like if I throw out a tweet and it gets some traction, there's usually someone's like, "Oh, but what about Comicsgate?" I'm like, not gonna engage with this crap.
Here's the thing: don't harass people.
Yeah.
Don't go hunting them down. Don't threaten them with bodily. That's what's wrong with this with people today. Why can't we have a nice
Okay, Grandpa.
conversation? Why, if you disagree with somebody, your first resort shouldn't be like physical intimidation or violence or harassment. It's not that complicated of a skill to sit down and have a civil disagreement. The lack of civil discourse is
But there is
upsetting.
There is this, on the other hand of things, like if you're against Comicsgate, as hopefully most people are, it's that whole like don't stoop to certain levels. Like there was a thing this week of like one comics creator, like the main ringleader behind this, like he sent him a picture of like his nude anus. I'm like, that's not helpful. That's not a retort. That's just you sending your butt. It's not helping.
Did you say nude anus?
I said nude anus.
Because there's a specific difference between someone's butt and their anus.
Oh, it was there. So don't do that. That's not helpful.
No, nobody wants to
Feel
see
free to
that.
call people out.
That does nothing. What does
yeah,
that
that-
accomplish?
But all these people.
Oh, look at me.
And I found a tweet
Take that, Nova Corps.
that really encapsulates the whole thing for me. Don't feel like giving this person credit because, no traction for anyone. But I read this tweet. I'm like, this just encapsulates everything for me. The guy, in response to something, he goes, "I love how the SJWs say we're against people of color, LGBT, and women in the industry. How we spread hateful, toxic messages. Never any evidence. All I ever see is, hey guys, can you please just entertain us and keep politics out of it?" Well, that's a fine tweet. I don't like the overall tribalism that comes with labeling, an entire group of people like a certain thing, like the whole SJW thing, but, at least a crafted opinion. If the tweet ended there.
Oh, no.
Followed by what I can only assume is a screeching noise. R-E-E-E-E-E-E-E. So like, ree! Die, you expletive bigot.
Duh or die?
Die.
Oh, jeez.
So, what? Look at this tweet. Look at that. He's like, I never see any evidence of anyone saying anything. Ree! Die. Ugh. Ugh.
You know what you've done? The problem is you've gone down the rabbit hole that is social media and the internet.
Well, no, it's
And
gotten
it-
bad for some people, legitimately. So I will come out and say, yes, I am strongly against this. I think comics are for anyone as long as you're not being the worst. If you're being the worst, I don't want to.
Just don't be the worst.
You're not.
You don't have. I like pineapple on my pizza. Does that make me different? Probably. Does that merit like death threats and bricks through my window? Absolutely not.
You're not a movement. You're not the disenfranchised. You're just a bunch of whiny assholes.
You don't have to like what everyone else likes. If everyone liked all the same thing, it'd be very boring.
Yeah, not every book is marketed to you. You know what I don't read? Books that are marketed to like 9-year-old girls. Why? Because I'm not a 9-year-old girl. It's fine that those books are out there, and I hope
Yeah.
that 9-year-old girls buy them.
Nobody's
I'm not reading
forcing
them.
you to buy these books that you don't enjoy.
Yeah, just...
Or, oh, but that's my favorite character and they ruined it. Well, wait till somebody else writes for the character.
Or
Grow up and deal with it.
Even dumb crap like when Iron Man was replaced with a black female teenager. Everyone's like, this ruins Iron Man. You know what's going to happen? He came back. You know what's always going to happen?
He was going to come
Oh,
back.
yeah. These people are the worst. Don't be the worst. That's my statement on it.
This public service announcement from Zach brought to you by
That's the news.
not being the worst.
All
Oh,
right, from there, all right, let's move on. It's time for Jared's sports reports.
He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. Bare-chested. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line.
It's time for another Jared Sports Report.
Well, speaking of sucking pretty bad right now, it's the
Oh.
Boston Red Sox. They're on a bit of a slide.
Oh, are they not leading anymore?
No, they're still leading, but that number has gone from as much as 10 and a half. It's down to like 7, 6.5, 7 games. So really not a good end to the month of August for the Boston Red Sox, but they maintain their lead in the division, still have the best record in baseball. Just kind of petering a little bit here, but hopefully they can right the ship.
There's comics news in sports.
Oh, is there?
Serena Williams,
Oh, yeah, she's not allowed to wear the cat suit.
which she said was kind of based on Black Panther and Wakanda. It made her feel like a Wakandan queen.
Yeah, so then she just went out and whooped up everybody without the cat suit. She's like,
So dumb. Like, this isn't in line with our sports. Get back in your skirt.
speaking of
French Open.
gentrification. But anyway,
My God, her arms are insane.
oh, she could break you in half.
Yeah. Her arms are
Don't be so
amazing.
enthusiastic about that. She'd break you in half. Yes, please. Serena, come here and destroy me.
Thank you. May I have another?
You'd be like, I don't know how to play tennis, but I will try. Other important news, the Patriots closing in on their 53-man roster. They lost their first preseason loss. It was to the Carolina Panthers on the road. The big news is Tom Brady, again, having a little bit of a spat with Boston radio station WEEI. They were asking him about Alex Guerrero, his longtime trainer, who actually has traveled with the team recently after kind of having what was thought of as a ban from being on the sideline, traveling with the team, etc. Did not like that he was getting asked these questions and abruptly kind of ended the conversation. It's a paid appearance on WEEI every Monday, so... It's not the first time he's hung up on him. In fact, it's like the second time in the last 4 or 5 months that he's done it to them.
So I'm hearing something about new rules. What's this helmet rule that's got everyone all concerned with the preseason?
Well, you're not supposed to initiate contact using your head. So tackling has become
difficult.
Much more difficult than it was in the first place. It really benefits the offensive player. It is for player safety and to minimize concussions, but
refs are all calling it different or something like that.
There's no consistency in it, and there's no consistency in it. It's hard to most tackles involve the head gets involved in some way, shape, or form.
You lead with it.
You're not supposed to.
I mean, if you're diving at someone.
Well, that's the argument as well. If an offensive player lowers their shoulder, it's always been illegal to lead with the crown of your helmet. You cannot ram or headbutt or spear. You cannot lead with the crown of your helmet. But what's happening is helmet is making first contact, and they're calling that as unnecessary roughness, when really the person who's like leading with their head takes it worse than the other person sometimes. So it really is making tackling harder. It's gone from last year was what's a catch to now what's a tackle, what's a legal tackle. It's really hurting the game.
So games will be twice as long with 3 times as many flags?
That's a possibility. I wouldn't say 3 times as long, but there are going to be a lot more penalties. And then it's going to be a critical.
Because that's what football.
You get a big stop on like a 3rd and long, and they throw the flag for unnecessary roughness, and it's a first down. The offense maintains possession after you did all this work for a great stop. And it's just one of those things that is it's too subjective to put in the balance. Also, the other big controversy coming out of college football is Urban Meyer in Ohio State. Have you not heard about this?
No. You always, whenever you say something to me that I don't know, I always stare blankly up there. Like when you said the match game, my eyes just shoot up.
You always stare blankly when I talk.
No, what's this thing?
So, yeah, it's not been a really good couple of weeks for football. Urban Meyer, the head coach at Ohio State, one of his assistants was found to be engaging in spousal abuse, and he kind of covered up for that person and didn't really discipline them or remove them from the team. So he's been suspended for the first 3 games of the college football season. Claiming he had no idea that these things were happening, but there are text messages between him and his wife and this guy's wife and his wife, a whole web of communication. He's like, I've forgotten that these things it's very much not a good look, and football needs a good look right now with this discussion. Yeah. And especially with the things that had happened in Maryland too, where the player died during a conditioning session that was extremely over the top, and this reports of the University of Maryland being a culture of fear and bullying and hazing. So not good times for the game of football in America.
I mean, Philly fans are happy.
Yeah, but Philadelphia is kind of...
They're just riding high.
Yeah, but not for much longer, I don't believe.
Well, man, I tried. I was like, sports, that'll be a nice positive thing. You let me down.
No, sorry. Well, how about this? High school sports all this week. It's the beginning of games that count. So the first countable games of the high school season for field hockey, soccer, cross country, volleyball, and football, and golf.
Training camp for the NBA next week.
But football.
I was just trying to give you something.
High school sports.
Which also doesn't matter. It's like, guess what? In a week, they're going to start training.
Yeah, they're going to start doing some wind sprints.
They're coming back to their respective cities.
Yay.
Preseason games have been set?
Preseason games have been set for a while, so.
No, they haven't. The schedule just came out.
They know who they're going to play, but this where and when is what.
Yeah, the regular season. Yeah, those only came out this last week. Again, not super exciting. Who cares about preseason?
Save up and buy yourself some Celtics tickets.
You can get them cheap, but they suck.
What?
Oh, cheap seats.
No, they're not bad seats at the Garden.
Oh, yeah, there are.
I've sat up high for a Celtics game and enjoyed it.
I've sat real high.
I've sat like 7 rows from the top, and I still enjoyed it.
I think I've sat 2 or maybe 1, and there was a pillar in front of me.
See, that was your fault.
Yeah. That's the sad note I tried to go out on. I'm like, yay. But hey, Hayward and Kyrie are supposed to be able to go 100% during training camp.
That's good.
Yeah, according to Danny Ainge, they said they've started today. They could go 100%.
Well, that's fantastic.
And
That
that
also means the Bruins training camp is starting up soon too. Hockey, ice hockey, which is cooler than the 90 degrees it is at night right now.
Yeah. From there, I suppose.
Ooh, an uplifting story.
I've planned everything terribly. It's whatever. We are finishing Kevin Smithathon, covering the end of all of his superhero books, except that one Daredevil one. I guess I can explain that one for a second. But we're going to do Jared's Reading Corner with Spider-Man and the Black Cat.
It's Jared's Reading Corner.
So I just said, we did all of his superhero books except for one. And that one's not really worth talking about.
But you're going to talk about it
I'm
anyway.
just going to give context to it.
All right.
Kevin Smith was supposed to do an additional Daredevil series, like a whole new mini. There's going to be like Daredevil and Bullseye, and I guess he tried to rush it out because Bendis wanted to use Bullseye and he wanted to use him instead. So he rushed out issue number 1, and that was that.
Oh,
He
okay.
never continued the series
Because our boy Bendis, he got what he wanted.
because you can't find it collected anywhere because there's literally just one issue. If you can, I've read it, it's fine, but it doesn't really add anything because it was delayed indefinitely, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 style.
Okay.
Also, this series delayed for years. This is written by Kevin Smith, art by Terry and Rachel Dodson. It is 6 issues. It came out in August of 2002 and didn't finish until March of 2006.
Oh, well,
There were 3 issues and then like a 3-year hiatus.
an issue a year
Hey, the last
on
3
average.
Yeah, but yeah, there were 3 issues, 3 years off, and then the last 3. To be fair, I don't really feel a tonal. You don't feel the break, I don't think, when you're reading them. It feels pretty
No,
consistent.
I didn't know that there was a break.
Yeah, if you don't know, I don't think you would ever notice.
Oh, well, now you know. Well, now I know.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
And knowing is half the battle.
so shall we talk about Felicia Hardy?
Sure, the Black Cat.
So Spider-Man and the Black Cat. Well,
They were together in the 80s.
they were together in the 80s, and Felicia Hardy, well, immediately we've kind of documented this a little bit. You really don't know or feel that Kevin Smith can write women very well.
We're going to see, because he, in January, it's very good timing. He has a Hit Girl series coming out. And I think he's probably evolved enough as a writer to be able to take a better stance, because, yeah, we fall back on the whole, let's do terrible things to women in superhero books that we've seen with almost everything he's done. And so far, we've seen Batman's fiance killed. We've seen Karen Page be told that she has AIDS and then killed. We've seen a teenage prostitute, and now we have this.
Yeah, we have the Black Cat.
And this is a happy one, too, for women.
Yes, Black Cat is going to New York City for something. She's hunting down some woman, whatever. Trisha. So she ends up running into Spider-Man because apparently there's this big drug epidemic happening in New York City that Spider-Man is trying to figure out, and people are just dying of random overdoses, and the police can't figure out how the...
Heroin overdoses for people who have never done heroin.
Yes.
And no signs of how they got the heroin.
But we have to have this 2-page monologue of her in the shower to, kind of exposition this a little bit. So Black Cat is kind of like the...
Femme fatale.
She's the femme fatale. She's like Catwoman.
She is.
She's exactly...
She's the Catwoman of Marvel.
She is the Catwoman of Marvel.
But less interesting.
So Spider-Man and Catgirl,
Black Cat.
Black Cat, whatever. Cat, feline, female.
They just happen to run into each other. And oh, it's so awkward because now he's married and she hasn't seen him in a while. And they're hunting the same thing, but boy, they sure have a difference of opinion of how you do a thing.
They also really still have a lot of tremendous sexual attention. And Peter makes fun of her weight and she punches him in the back of the head. So anyway,
that line was written by a married man.
Well,
I feel like that was just pulling from life.
So there's a kind of a big fight, and then I wanted to say this was Poison Ivy, but it's not Poison Ivy.
No, it's Scorpia, the female version of the Scorpion. I don't remember if she was ever around before this. I don't remember if she ever comes back.
But eventually, what happens here is Black Cat decides that, well, Peter's a lot of fun, but Peter's married, so I can't have that much fun with Peter, so I'm going to just go on this search of my own to find the villain and stop these heroin doses. And she ends up in a really, really bad situation.
But then she has a heroin overdose. But how?
Well, there just so happens to be a teleporter.
Yeah, you can teleport heroin inside your system, which people pay a premium for so they don't have any track marks. But,
Yes.
being heroin, also easy to overdose.
But it's also, the big drug kingpin is like, oh, well, let's, introduce more heroin to these people and have them overdose.
And if anyone gets in their way, then they get too much heroin.
So she finds herself now in prison accused of murder because of one of the guy's henchmen corners her and drugs her with heroin, and then
he's in pieces for some reason.
Yes, he attempts to rape her and is unsuccessful in doing so, and everyone thinks that Black Cat is murdered and chopped this guy up Fargo style.
Well, Daredevil shows up and he's like, do a rape kit because it'd be self-defense if he did it. She's like, that never happened, but he's super dead.
Yes,
I also
and
didn't do that.
Matt Murdock is like, you're super probably in denial. So Peter says, well, Matt, why don't we just break her out of prison? So when they get to do that, they run into her and the teleporter guy, Victor.
Who then teleports them away, so they do the only thing they can do and go talk to a teleporter.
Yes.
Nightcrawler, baby!
I said Nightshade accidentally over dinner tonight.
It's a team up!
So there's three
also,
people.
we didn't have dinner together.
Well,
Makes it sound like we had a Ken over dinner tonight.
I had dinner at your house.
How was your day, dear?
It was long, hot, and exciting.
I already heard about it.
Yes, because
we did have dinner together.
We did. Leaving at that point, it kind of goes into some deeper skeletons and closets. I'm not going to ruin the whole story, but
I think it's worth bringing up because it is this weird.
All right, so the teleporter who's transporting the heroin was actually sexually abused as a child by
his brother.
Who,
when he was about to rape Felicia, transported himself inside his brother, so his brother just exploded.
Which there's a line like, I've always wondered what that looks like from Nightcrawler.
Yeah. And then Felicia bears her soul that she was also raped.
Yes, when she was in college.
But then Spider-Man shows up and he beats the hell out of this guy just as she's about to break through to him, and he disappears. And this isn't very good.
No. Well, he gets pushed off the Brooklyn Bridge and then teleports right before he hits the water, but he was falling at such a fast rate, he gets damaged, and then
There's flashbacks of Gwen Stacy dying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then he meets the Kingpin, and the Kingpin sells him
Mysterio's
outfit.
Because he died in that Daredevil one, except I think that's also totally dropped. The idea...
No, because Peter references the things that Daredevil, like the stupid mistakes Daredevil's made, including thinking he was preventing the second coming.
I'm saying this new Mysterio. I don't think it goes anywhere.
Oh, okay. But this does tie into some of the other Kevin Smith stuff.
Yeah. The idea at the time was that he was going to take over Spider-Man, but with the whole, 3-year delay, Marvel decided maybe not.
Not time for him to have Spidey.
For most of what I've enjoyed the majority of the Kevin Smith stuff that he's done superhero-wise. Some of it's better than others, but this is, I think, the only one that I would call actively not good.
It just kind of, I mean, I understand. There are some, key parts in it, I think, that are interesting, trying to raise awareness and a social message about some of that more tough stuff with sexual assault and sexual abuse, and the 1 in 4 women will experience sexual assault of some kind in their lifetime.
Felicia says that she didn't report her rape because she didn't want to just become a statistic. And there's some, I don't know quite how to describe it. It's like there's really dark material that isn't quite dealt with. Causing someone pain doesn't necessarily make your story deeper. Like if you just say awful things happened, that doesn't really, you got to go somewhere with it. This doesn't really, kind of ends on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. And I'm sure it's not an intentional thing, but just I don't think Kevin Smith has anything against women.
No.
The fact that we just keep getting these superhero books where it's something terrible sexually happened to women.
Well, I think
boy, again.
Maybe it's part of it is trying to get a little bit of an edge to it. But the other thing I think I found kind of maybe a little mildly unsatisfying is there's all these great cliffhangers and the directions what's going to happen next with this story that we never get to explore. I still want to know what happens with what should be the third part of the Batman series he wrote. I'd like to know what happens with Onomatopoeia and how it all comes back full circle there. I mean, that's one I'd like to see completed.
That entire Daredevil series.
That's also true as well.
Yeah, overall, I do like the stuff that he's done. I think the first Green Arrow arc is really great. Daredevil I like a lot. That Batman 66 one is really fantastic.
There's more good than bad.
Yeah, overall, and he's coming back to comics in January, and I look forward to it overall.
Yeah, I know. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was.
Yeah,
it was. It's not the worst thing I've read, but it's not the best thing I've read.
I mean, you could always argue the side of it's real life where there's no real resolution to major problems, but I'd also like a little bit more than...
And Peter totally makes out with someone who's not his wife in this.
She made out with him.
He did say, I've never had anyone try to French me through my mask before.
Yeah, I don't know. I recommend a lot of the stuff. This one is one that I don't think it really holds up.
And also more so it's not for younger kids. It's not a younger book at all.
Yeah. Hey kids, want to read about a sexual assault story that goes nowhere? Yeah, no. I like the art.
Yeah, the art is good.
I mean, Terry Dodson stuff, you can... he has a very distinct style. You can really point out his stuff.
It's more of a Black Cat story than a Spider-Man story.
Yeah, but not enough of a Black Cat story.
And not enough of it. It's like Black Cat and Spider-Man are in it.
Well, that was weird and dark. Whole episode, weird and dark.
Well, maybe our letter to the editors.
That's a little more positive.
Because it's somebody's birthday today.
It is.
Not yours.
Yeah, so from there...
Not mine.
Don't read this, I guess, or do if you feel like it, but I don't recommend it. We're moving on to letters to the editors.
Lot of questions, number one. Damn few answers.
Here's another one of your letters to the editors.
Make it so.
It is someone's birthday today. It's weird that was already a year ago that we did that show.
Yes.
I guess, who the hell knows? I guess that's how time works.
Time marches on.
Today when we're recording is Jack Kirby's 101st birthday.
Would have been his 101st birthday.
Oh, yeah, he's dead. I think they're aware that he didn't live to 101.
No, but you say semantics, I say clarity and information.
You say dead. He's a dead man. But with that, there's you know what, for as much as I like, Comicsgate made Twitter not fun, because comics should be fun. Just go have fun.
There were a lot of interesting Kirby tweets today.
Yeah, it was a big Kirby day, which is always nice. Like, people are coming out of the woodwork of some kind of more obscure art, some more popular stuff. People just kind of praising the man himself. There was a bunch of charity stuff for the Hero Initiative, which, by the way, is always worth giving to. The organization that helps comics creators who don't have health insurance, since most of them work freelance. Hopefully worth saying what it is.
Yep.
But definitely a good organization. So there was a lot of that stuff coming out. I had a Kirby tweet that last I checked was had 60,000 views.
Wow.
Yeah. But only 14 people clicked on my profile. I'm 60 out of 60,000, 14 people were interested in
Well,
it.
how many people retweeted it or liked it?
I don't know, a lot.
Yeah.
Do you want me to brag numbers? I'll brag.
No.
Numbers.
There's no need. Let's get to the letter to the editor. Let's get to the root of the deal here. Let's get to the meat of the potatoes.
167 retweets, 498 likes.
Wow. You've had to turn off notifications on your phone, haven't you?
I did this 12 hours ago, so it's really slowed down.
Oh.
Not to brag, but I also actually don't care. I just think it's funny when I get traction. Why? Why this one? But the question that was asked, this was a Twitter question. What is your favorite Jack Kirby art?
I can't really speak.
You've read some stuff. You've read some Fantastic Four. You read some New Gods.
Ooh, I like the one where the guy who can't, if he opens his mouth, everyone blows up.
Black Bolt?
Yeah, I like Black Bolt. When Black Bolt screams, and yeah, that was pretty cool. Ant-Man, not Ant. Who was the
Bug?
The Bug. The Bug was cool too.
So you're I've read a couple things, and I like the couple that I read because you've read a little chunk of it because you read the beginning of Fantastic Four.
I also like the Thing's motorcycle in the air. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's some Kirby tech. Yeah, you've read the Galactus trilogy, the Doom Surfer saga. He did some of the Strange Tales stuff, and you read that one issue of New Gods. So you've read a little bit of his stuff.
Yes.
I mean, the majority of the stuff Kirby puts out there is great. Even going back to when he was doing romance comics, he knows how to draw some lusty teens. I did it for the face. It was good. I mean, no, he did.
I'm uncomfortable.
Well, romance comics are the best-selling comics of all time. It's the best-selling genre. When they exploded big. Nothing...
Like Harlequin type.
Yeah, teen romance. You see, on the cover,
Jimmy.
Yeah,
you and your letter jacket make me so swoony.
How can you be with her? That kind of crap. Yeah, those are the best-selling comics.
Is Stan and the dog? Hey kids, let's go to the sock hop.
Stan wrote some of them too, but yeah, I can't imagine he did good. Stan sure likes to write those teen-agers. He writes them so well. But yeah, going back to that stuff, his early superhero stuff isn't the best, but he evolved so much. I think especially Fantastic. I think Fantastic Four is his best stuff. I mean, for as much as doing Thor and the Norse gods or doing New Gods over at DC or Commandy, I still think Fantastic Four is his best stuff. Especially doing his. I mean, you even mentioned some of his tech. Especially if you look in the backgrounds, the machines he draws are insane. This is before Star Wars and all this crap, and he was drawing spaceships and things that moved in 3 dimensions that no one had ever done before. He made it whole cloth and made you believe that oh yeah, that would work in space.
Yeah. I mean, he has a really distinct style. The face features and the mouths are really similar. You can tell it's Kirby.
He has one face for women. Every attractive woman has the same face.
He always has someone running at you.
I do love that Kirby gait. I think his best stuff, aside just from saying Fantastic Four in general, I wish I could remember the issues off the top of my head, but when the Microverse is first introduced and the Silver Surfer is flying around, he literally creates a whole universe. That's insane stuff. He did a lot of photo collages. I don't know if you've seen any of that stuff.
No.
He would do photo collages with, incorporating comic art and done to create the negative zone and all these weird looking things. If you're interested in his stuff, because his stuff will cost you thousands of dollars for anything. So, not affordable for most people. But if you are interested in his art, IDW has done this for a number of artists. And I think they even have a few Kirby ones out there. They're called artist edition books. And what it is they'll only do it for stuff that they'll collect an entire issue worth of comics of the art that still exists. And they have to go and find collectors. So you'll see some of them. It's really funny because you see autographs on them and whatnot for certain things. But they'll find the original art, scan it at its full size, and don't do any of the prettying up for comics. It's as close as you're going to get to looking at that much original Kirby art, and mind blowing just how insane it is. Literally turning the page and be like, how damn good it is. So if you're interested in Kirby art, I really recommend getting the IDW Artist Edition stuff because
Well, don't you still have some Kirby statics in the store?
Yeah, but I still have those, and there's some Kirby prints and whatnot that I bought through his family. So yeah, there's even Kirby art at the store. Not, originals, because it's not cheap.
No.
And I'm poor.
But the statics are still nice.
Yeah, there's still a good number of those. I've made my money back on them, which is nice.
There you go.
It's in the profits now, and there's still a lot of them left. That doesn't mean I'm going to sell them for nothing, but...
Giveaway.
No.
I'm
That's what that
kidding.
means. But yeah, come to the store because the sidewalk's open and you can grab a thing. Just don't do it on Saturday
Yes.
because it won't be there.
But anyway, you can also help us out by going to Patreon.
Yeah, that's a biggie.
Yeah, patreon.com/editorsnotecomics. For $1 a month, you get this show a day early. You get the Buffy back issue bin, the other show on the network, air quote network, a whole week early.
Hey.
For a little extra cheddar, you get some other cool stuff. Zach will write you up a review of the new releases of the week, his top comics.
Crap, I forgot to do that. I'll do that tomorrow.
Oh, okay. There you go. Good thing I reminded you.
By the time the show comes out, that'll be
Yeah.
I haven't forgotten that yet. Damn it.
And for $5, you can become a Duke or Duchess of the podcast and get a really cool
Damn it, I can't believe
sound.
I forgot.
Well, good thing I reminded you. So that's all on Patreon. It's really helps Zach out. And me, because I get the macaroni and cheese is back in the budget now.
Well, I mean, it's helping to pay for the website and all this equipment.
And the mac and cheese is back in the budget now for Tuesday night dinner for Jared. Love it. And you can check out the store at 210 Water Street in Hollowell. That is open. The sidewalk is open. There's parking downtown. Don't be scared off by all the construction down there. They're making really good progress.
Look, I'm not going to say there's a direct correlation, but the second the construction started, I stopped making money. And the second it moved to the other side, I started making money again. I'm not saying there's a direct correlation.
Listen, Occam's razor. Okay, the simplest, with all things being equal, the simplest explanation is the right one.
Oh, boy, yeah. I mean, I'll be glad when it's totally gone. When I say I'm making money, I'm not making it hand over fist here, but I'm at least, in the profit side.
Listen, plus 1 cent is more than negative 1 cent.
Yeah, you sound like my accountant.
Well, maybe I shouldn't, instead of meteorology, I could be an accountant. Still hate math, though.
Yeah.
And all the variety of social medias.
Yeah, I'm Twitter god today.
You were Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Just look up Editor's Note Comics.
I don't do much on Instagram, but you can still go there. I do maybe one post every 3 months.
Of your dog named Kirby.
That's not on the store.
Oh, that's on your
Instagram.
personal one. Yeah, well.
Don't follow me there.
They can't find you there.
Yeah, I don't use it that often either. So
Fair enough.
that's every 1 to 2 months.
I sent you a Snapchat a couple weeks ago that was really, really funny, and you still haven't opened it.
Oh, do I still have that?
Oh, it said that you did.
Oh.
It was funny.
Okay.
It's worth listening to.
When my wife was away, I got Snapchat just for easy communication, but now that she's back, I'm I hate this and I don't want it anymore.
Oh, that's unfortunate because I sent you a really, really funny Snapchat.
Great. I'm so glad you're proud of yourself.
I am extremely proud of myself.
To the abyss.
It involves you, actually.
I don't want to open it.
Yes, you do. You kind of do.
I guess that'll be it. Next week. Oh, that'll be a weird one.
Oh, thanks. I just plugged you and.
Oh yeah, you're on Twitter.
At Junior Rich.
Yeah, next week's an experiment.
Oh God! Last time we did an experiment, it failed terribly.
Hell, you don't have to do anything. You just have to show up.
That's what you said about the last experiment.
Because next week I'm gonna spin a tale for Jared.
Oh boy!
Because it would involve reading, and I know he wouldn't actually sit down and do it.
Start a school year, man. I don't have time to read.
Doesn't matter what time of year it was. He's still gonna read.
You're probably right.
I know that's.
I've done a really good job with the reading over the summer.
I've planned ahead. That's too many words for him. So we're gonna try something a little different.
Is it gonna be Zach's reading corner?
No.
Oh.
But I don't know. I'm burying late. Look, I'm gonna do the weird James Cameron Spider-Man script, the script that didn't get off the ground because there's weirdness in it. So yeah, find out all about the James Cameron movie that never happened. Be glad it never happened, but also be kind of sad that it didn't because it's that terrible and weird.
I cannot wait.
Because you just have to show up.
I'm sitting with bated breath.
Back next week for James Cameron weird ass Spider-Man script.
Bye.